Okay, here's the next page that I'm going to be working on. First of all, did you notice in the last video that I forgot to glue on my embroidery transfer? So there it is. I remembered. So now we're going to do the calendar pages. I'm going to set aside all of my elements. I've got them folded, and I will show you how I folded them. Just want to get rid of all the excess elements. This is the completed page. So here is the Currier and Ives calendar page. If you can find these at a flea market or a yard sale, I got mine at flea markets, and I think I have 3 different calendars. 2 of them, I believe, were 1984. I got them at the same time, and this one I got at the other flea market more recently, and it's a 1970. But they have these big pages for each month, and on the back side is another month, and there's a beautiful picture on each one. So, like I said, I trimmed around the borders, trimmed the excess off, and then folded it in half. So then I have a picture here and a picture here. So it's going to be this way in the book. So I want as much of the picture to show as I can get. So I just have so much stuff here. I just folded this in to make it the right width for the book, and there's some picture here, and then I folded this one this way to get some more color here. So now it's the right width for the book, but it's still too tall. So then I open it up and fold it up this way till it's the right height. So when I'm done sewing everything down, and just for decorative element, I folded this down and I sewed a button on that. So once I have everything sewed down, I'll have this pocket here, like I showed you, this pocket, but then this little flap forms a pocket too. And I glued this because must be I couldn't sew it with the way I had to sew everything else. So I glued that, which makes the pocket narrower because the glue spreads. And then you get this nice pocket with a flap here. And then that side is just plain. So I've got my pockets folded, and I am just going to sew them down. And on this one I have a piece of bead sack fabric and some pom-pom trim, vintage pom-pom trim. I'm sorry for my raspy voice if you haven't been watching. I'm getting over a cold. That piece didn't want to tear. I'll use some brown on this one. On the purple one, I like cutting the purple one because there's this loop in between the palms that I can cut, and it doesn't affect the palms, but this one doesn't have it. So when I cut one, I usually cut one of these things loose, and then I have to sew it back on. And by that I just mean I try to catch that piece of yarn when I sew it, but it's a little tricky. Looks like I got it. It's in there now. I could sew it this way before I sew it that way, and then I won't have to glue it. Aha! Remember in my last video I said my black thread was almost gone and I didn't replace the spool before I came back on. But I bought some more thread, but I don't think it's in this room. I don't think I brought that in here yet. I've got a dark navy blue. I'm going to switch to that so I don't have to go searching for that black thread. Sorry, just threading my machine here. There was still some black thread in the needle. Oop. Gotta move this a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. It's a lot easier to thread a needle when you're not on video. Alright. I did have enough to do that, to finish that, so now I just have to sew up this side. Navy thread doesn't look much different than the black, does it? Okay, before I stitch this down, I'm going to add some ribbon. I should have done that before I stitched that side. Some ribbon and a scrap of fabric. Oh, we'll make it real, whoops, I'm sorry. We'll make it real colorful. We have a bright green ribbon and we'll have some lavender fabric. And by doing that, it will close this flap here. I was checking my other one to see if I had stitched it closed, and I did by doing this. I could have glued these down if I'd forgotten to sew them. But I like the stitching. Sorry, the paper puckered. I want to make sure that's okay. Feels puckery down there. It is a little bit, but it's going to be on the other side. I guess that's going to be good. I'm going to just stitch down this side now. Okay, so I think we're done, except for some embellishing. I want to glue a trim here. I could sew it. I'm going to use this stretchy gingham ruffle. It's getting hot in here. Yesterday it was in the 90s. Today it was only supposed to be near 80. But the upstairs doesn't cool off as quickly as the downstairs, so it's hot up here. So whenever I stop a video and then prep for the next one, I turn on my air and my fan. So we still have a pocket here. And I have some little appliques. There they are. These I got in a bunch of vintage appliques at a yard sale. I got a whole bunch of them, and I'm going to be splitting them up and putting them in my shop. I've got little flowers that are smaller than this. But this is odd because it looks like strawberries to me, although I'm not sure if the leaves look like strawberries, but they're blue. If anybody knows what they're supposed to be, let me know. But they're just a decorative element, so I'm just going to stick them on there. And I just have a scrap of scrapbook paper that I folded and punched. I think I like this color in here. And I have an envelope made out of a Singer sewing book page to go in here. This is from a photo box. You're supposed to write the date and the events and the place and any comments, so it was a divider tab for photos. That goes in there, and this page from an Afghan book, knitting book, goes in there. And I will select a button to sew on there. I don't think I'll do that on screen though. Looking for my vintage buttons. I like that. It's flat. It's flatter than most buttons, and it's big and cute, so I'm going to sew that there. I'm going to need one for the next one too, and these are all thick. This one's not too thick. Looking for larger ones. I think I like this one. Something like this is a good opportunity to use the larger ones. I don't know if you want to watch me do this one. But here I go. I'm going to do purple pom-poms again and use this little piece of, oh, that's kind of too small. This piece. Purple feed sack. Oh, and I just got a message from Jennifer. See if I can find it on my phone here. Speaking of feed sack fabrics. She said, find the right one. It's Diane's Domestic Arts Feed Sack Flour Sack. 25 6x6 pieces of floral novelty fabrics. They're the feed sack fabrics. So you would get 25 6x6 pieces, which is awesome. As you can see the small pieces that I use, so you can use a 6x6 piece several times if you're doing it like I do. In this case, I do use larger pieces for some things, but I will leave the link for that listing in this video. Was going to go through that. It kept not wanting to move. Okay, let's decorate this before I forget. Ribbon and fabric. Let's use this green rickrack stuff. This might have to be the last video. I like this fabric too. This isn't feed sack fabric, it's just pretty fabric. Okay, we got it with no puckering. Okay, so how does this thing go? Forgot how to fold it. This can go in there. And I didn't stitch that, so I'm going to glue it. I guess with all the little flips and folds to glue, you're bound to forget one of them. Whoops. Didn't let it dry. I have this little booklet made with a sewing pattern book. It goes in there. This isn't vintage trim. I think it was on clearance, or else somebody sent it to me. But it was a card full of these bright green trims, just a variety of them. And I think it's fun because there's just all different types of trim on it. Just makes it fun. What else? I think that's it. I sewed that down without having the flap there. So, no button here. Maybe I'll just glue a button. I can put some floss through this button and just glue it down there. And so I think this page is done. I didn't put anything in this pocket, but I have this. I took this image out of my sewing pattern book and glued it to the back of a phone message sheet. And then instead of trimming off the excess, I just folded it over onto itself. So the image goes this far, and then this is just the yellow paper. But I thought it made a cute journaling card. So there's another page. I think that I'll just continue on my own for the rest of the time that I have to craft today. Maybe I won't craft too much longer because I'm just getting tired. Need to rest a little bit. So, thanks for hanging out with me today, and I hope you're enjoying this process. And hopefully I'll be able to share some more with you tomorrow. Bye-bye.